Most e-commerce businesses die in 6 months. And not because people are lazy, it's because they follow broken advice. One of my students once dumped $3,000 into a winning product she found on YouTube, never made a single sale. And 3 months later, the guru vanished, and so did all of her savings. Now that story is not unique. I've seen it hundreds of times. My name is Steve Chu. I've run a 7-figure e-commerce store for 18 years. I've taught over 6,000 students, and I host one of the top e-commerce conferences in the country called the Seller Summit. In this video, I'm going to show you the exact roadmap that I would follow if I had to start over today. No fluff, no hacks, just the system that works, and by the end, you'll know exactly what product to sell, how to source it, where to launch it, and how to scale it into something you actually own, even if you're starting from zero. Now, quick warning here, if you're looking for hacks or shortcuts, this video is not for you. But if you want the real playbook, the one that I've used for 18 years, save this video now because you'll want to revisit it as you build. Now let's get one thing straight. If you're thinking about starting with dropshipping, retail arbitrage, or selling wholesale on Amazon, just stop right there. Those business models are built on borrowed time. They might work for a couple months, maybe even a year or more, but they won't last. And I know this because I've watched thousands of people try it. Most of them lose money. Even worse, they waste time chasing trends that were dead 2 years ago. Now back in the day, dropshipping worked because brands needed help getting seen online. And I actually tried dropshipping back in 2008. It worked for a while until my supplier ran out of stock without telling us over the holidays, and I had to refund dozens of angry customers. That's when I realized that if you don't control the product, you don't control the business. Now today, Amazon owns over half of e-commerce. Any brand can launch in minutes, and they don't need middlemen anymore. Also, when you sell someone else's product, you're not building a business. You're just one of 100 sellers selling the exact same thing, racing to the bottom on price. Now, the only reason my business is still going strong after 18 years is because I own the brand. I own the product, and I own the entire customer experience. If I had to start all over today, I'd do it the exact same way. Because if you want long-term success, you need to build something that you actually own. That's why the only model I recommend today is private label. And no, you don't need to invent the next iPhone. You just need a product that solves a problem, and ideally, one that you understand. So how do you figure out what to sell? You don't start by scrolling through trending products on TikTok or copying what's already on Amazon. You start with a problem, yours or someone else's. We started selling handkerchiefs because we needed them for our wedding and couldn't find them anywhere online. My student Amanda built a 7-figure party supply business the same way, by solving her own planning headaches. And my friend Rob, he sells a clip-on attachment for drone remotes because he was sick of the cheap ones breaking on him. Here's the point. The best ideas often come from pain, not product trends. Now, if you're not sure where to start, that's fine. There are tools to help. Jungle Scout shows what's selling on Amazon. Ahrefs reveals what people search for on Google but can't find. Terapeak gives insight into what's moving on eBay, and Shop Hunter shows you how much any Shopify store is making. Do not chase what's hot. Find what's missing and make it better. Now, once you've narrowed down a short list of product ideas, the next step is figuring out how to actually make them. Now, I personally source from over 20 factories all over the world and attended the Canton Fair in China a bunch of times. And here's what I've learned. Your goal is simple. Find a supplier who can produce your product at a cost that still leaves room for a healthy profit. For private label, I recommend aiming for at least a 66% gross margin. So if you plan on selling something for $30, your target manufacturing cost should be $10 or less. Now here are the 3 easiest ways to find a supplier. First, there's Alibaba. This is the most popular option. You just search for your product, filter by region, compare minimum order quantities, pricing, and even see how long each factory has been in business. And here's the thing. Alibaba isn't just for China anymore. These days, you'll find suppliers from all over the world. Second, you can go to a trade show because nothing beats meeting suppliers face to face. I used to go to the Canton Fair in China every other year before COVID hit. You get to feel the products, ask direct questions, and build real relationships, which gives you a serious edge over sellers who just click message supplier. And third, you can hire a sourcing agent. This is perfect if you want to save time, and this is the primary way that I find suppliers today. A good sourcing agent will find factories for you, negotiate on your behalf, and handle all the communication. They usually charge around 5% of your cost of goods, which is well worth it, especially if you're just starting out. But no matter which route you take, here's the rule that you never skip. Always ask for samples. Hold the product in your hands. Test it. Make sure the quality is exactly what you want before ordering in bulk. Also, don't skip the business basics. Get everything in writing. This includes pricing, minimum order quantities, turnaround times, payment terms, and quality guarantees. For example, when we order our linens, we expect less than a 3% defect rate, and that's clearly outlined up front. And then finally, stay in touch. We're constantly communicating with our vendors on WhatsApp and WeChat to make sure nothing falls through the cracks. By the way, if you're interested in learning how to start your own profitable online store, make sure you sign up for my free 6-day e-commerce mini course below. It's 100% free, and I guarantee you'll learn a lot. All right, so you got your product idea, you found a supplier, you're fired up and ready to hit the order button. Stop right there. Don't order 1,000 units just yet, because the last thing you want is a garage full of products that nobody wants. I once knew a guy who ordered 1,000 fidget spinners because they were trending. They arrived late, the quality sucked, and now they're collecting dust in his garage. Before you invest thousands of dollars in inventory, you need to validate your idea. So start simple. Order a small batch of samples, just enough to test demand. And then try to sell them on eBay, Etsy, or Facebook Marketplace. You can also tap into Facebook or Discord groups in your niche. And that's exactly how we validated our wedding handkerchiefs in the beginning. I posted in bridal groups asking, hey, anyone know where I can find a hanky with initials on it? And then a week later, I followed up with, hey, I finally found a supplier, but I had to buy a bunch. If anyone wants one of my extras, let me know. That one post led to our first sales and even better, feedback. People told us what they liked, what they didn't, and how much they'd pay. And I still remember the first PayPal sale notification where we made $24.99. I turned to my wife and I said, someone just bought a handkerchief online. And we chuckled for 10 minutes straight. That's the real goal of validation. Not to get rich, but to learn what works before you go all in. Now, if you're still unsure, you can use tools like Jungle Scout to see how similar products perform on Amazon. If people are already buying a product like yours and yours is better, you're already on the right track. Now, at this point, you've proven your product works. Now it's time to get real customers and real momentum. And the fastest way to do that is to launch on Amazon. Now, I always preach owning your own brand, your website, your customer list, your experience. And yes, that's the ultimate goal. But when you're just starting out and you need momentum, Amazon gives you instant traffic, instant trust, and a low friction way to get your first sales. I have an entire free Amazon mini course linked below that explains the entire process, but here's a quick summary of how to get started. Step 1 is just to create a Seller Central account. It only takes a couple minutes. You'll need a business name, a bank account, and your tax ID. Next, list your product. And this part is critical. Your listing has to sell the product before anyone even clicks. Write a title that grabs attention. Use bullet points that clearly highlight the benefits and include keywords that help you show up in search. And your photos, they need to look clean, professional, and make the product feel irresistible. Once your listing is live, turn on Amazon PPC ads. This puts your product right at the top of the search results, even if nobody knows who you are yet. And with just a small ad budget, you can start getting sales and build momentum that carries into your organic rankings. Again, the key is to treat Amazon like a launch pad, not the final destination. Use the momentum you built on Amazon to prove your product works, and then let the cash flow and early reviews establish credibility. But once your product is selling and you've validated demand, it's time to take the next step, the one that separates short-term sellers from long-term brands, and that step is building your own website. This is where the real shift happens. You move from relying on platforms that you don't control to building something that is truly yours. You own the margins, you own the brand, you own the customer experience, and the data that drives future growth. And no, you don't need to be a web developer. Today, building a professional, high-converting e-commerce site is easier than ever. If you want something that just works out of the box, go with Shopify. It's fast, intuitive, and backed by a massive app ecosystem. Now, if you're on a tighter budget and don't mind a little tech setup, WooCommerce is a great alternative. It gives you more control, but it does take more time to get running. But remember, the platform is just the starting point. What really matters is how your site communicates. The second someone lands on your homepage, they should know exactly what you sell, who it's for, and why it's better without having to scroll. That message needs to be bold, clear, and impossible to miss. Because you only get one shot to earn their attention, and clarity always beats cleverness. Now from there, the entire shopping experience should feel effortless. Clean navigation, fast load times, a mobile-friendly design that works on any screen. Every page should guide your customer one step closer to checkout. And here's what most new sellers overlook. Buyers don't want to take a risk. They want reassurance. They want to know that other people have bought your product, loved it, and had a great experience. That's why social proof isn't optional. It's required. You must show real reviews, share customer photos and testimonials, offer a clear return policy, and answer the questions they're already thinking. Because every piece of reassurance chips away at hesitation. And the moment they feel confident, that's when they click Add to Cart. But here's where most people blow it. They launch their site, list their product, dial in the branding, and then immediately ask, how do I get traffic? But that's actually the wrong question, because traffic doesn't matter if you can't convert it. Here's the truth. Only about 2% of the people who land on your site will actually buy. That means 98% of your hard-earned visitors leave without purchasing a thing. So before you chase more clicks, you need a system that turns browsers into buyers on autopilot. And that system is email and SMS. Email and SMS are the engines that power your business behind the scenes. And once they're set up, they run automatically, recovering abandoned carts, generating repeat purchases, and turning one-time shoppers into loyal customers, all while you sleep. Now, I go deeper in this in other videos, but here are the 4 essential flows every e-commerce store needs from day one. First, the abandoned cart flow. When someone adds something to their cart but doesn't check out, you can't just let them walk. A simple reminder, maybe with a small discount, can recover up to 30% of those lost sales. Second is the pre-purchase flow. This is for people who join your list but haven't bought yet. They're interested but not convinced. And this sequence is where you share your story, explain what makes your product different, and then build trust so that when they're ready to buy, they buy from you. Third is the post-purchase flow. And remember, the sale isn't the finish line. It's actually the start of the relationship. I once wrote a handwritten note for a bride who rush ordered 10 handkerchiefs. She replied with a photo and said, "This made me cry as much as the actual wedding." That is how you create a repeat customer. So follow up, say thank you, let them know their order's on the way, and then recommend something else that they might love. That's how you turn first-time buyers into repeat customers. And finally, there's the win-back flow. If a customer hasn't purchased in a while, reach out. Check in. Send a limited time offer. Remind them why they loved your brand in the first place. Many of these lost customers just need a nudge to come back. And together, all these flows chip away at the 98% of traffic that would have otherwise left. They're fully automated and they keep your business converting even while you sleep. Now, none of this works, of course, unless people actually join your list. So give them a reason. Offer 10% off, free shipping, a helpful guide, whatever fits your brand. Just make sure it's something that they care about. I personally use Klaviyo for email marketing and PostScript for SMS, but the tool doesn't matter nearly as much as having these systems in place. Email alone accounts for about 30% of my revenue, and that is how powerful it is when done correctly. And once your store is live and your backend is built to convert, this is where things get exciting because now it's time to drive traffic. And for that, I use a two-pronged strategy. Content for long-term organic growth and paid ads for fast, short-term sales. Let's start with content. Right now, the most powerful way to get your product in front of people for free is short-form video. I'm talking TikToks, Instagram Reels, and YouTube Shorts. These platforms are built for discovery, and they're still giving small creators massive reach. And the best part is that you don't need fancy equipment. You don't even need to be on camera, but what you do need is clarity. Show the product, solve a problem, and tell a story. Here's what most people miss. Short-form video isn't just for social media anymore. Platforms like Google, TikTok, ChatGPT, and Perplexity are now indexing video content, which means when someone searches best gifts for new moms or eco-friendly wedding favors, your video can show up even if they've never heard of you. So don't just think about going viral. Think about search. Think about showing up where people are asking real questions. Use keywords in your captions, answer specific problems, because when your content is helpful, AI platforms will surface it. And when they do, You're not just getting exposure, you're attracting buyers who already trust what you said. Now let's talk about written content next. Yes, blogging still works, but the game has changed. You're no longer writing to rank on Google. You're writing to be picked up by tools like ChatGPT, Gemini, and Perplexity. And those tools don't want fluff. They just want clear, helpful answers to real questions. So skip the long essays and instead write short, structured posts like best personalized gifts under $30 or why linen towels are better for sensitive skin. Make the content easy to scan, easy to quote, easy for AI to pull into an answer box. Because when one of these AI platforms features your content, the chances are 9 times higher for them to buy than any other platform. Now, once your content starts working and people are discovering you organically, that's when you layer on paid ads. Start with Facebook and Instagram because they're still insanely effective for products that are visual, solve a real problem, or tap into emotion. Now, a full Facebook ad tutorial is beyond the scope of this video, but here's the cool part. You can often take your best organic short-form videos and just run them as ads. If it worked with no ad spend, there's a good chance it'll crush it with spend too. Some of my highest converting ads started as simple TikToks that we made for free. And if your product solves a clear need, you can also run Google search and shopping ads. Google ads reach people at the right moment. They're already ready to buy because they're actively searching for solutions. Now I get it. Most people are nervous about spending money on ads, but here's the mindset shift that most beginners miss. Your goal with paid ads isn't to make a big profit up front. Your real goal is to just break even. Now why is that? Because your email and SMS flows are already working behind the scenes. They're following up automatically, recovering carts, and generating repeat purchases and turning first-time customers into loyal fans. So even if you just break even on that first sale, you've just acquired a customer for free and your backend will do all the rest. You don't need to win on day 1, you just need to win on day 30, and that's how real e-commerce brands scale. And that brings us to the final step, focusing on your best customers. These are the people who buy more often, spend more per order, and tell their friends. Now I'm in the wedding industry, so only about 12% of our customers ever come back. But here's what most people miss. That small group, they drive over 36% of our total revenue. And why is that? Because they're not just one-time buyers. They're wedding planners, event coordinators, and bulk buyers. They order regularly, purchase in volume, and refer new clients. Take Robin, for example. She's a planner who's ordered from us 252 times. She even sends us photos from events that she decorates. And that kind of relationship does not happen on Amazon. And that's why we treat our repeat customers like VIPs. They get a personal contact, a reusable discount code, and priority service on every single order. It's a simple system because when people feel valued, they don't just come back. They bring others with them. So bottom line, I started all this with one frustrated Google search, where to buy a wedding handkerchief. If I can turn that into a 7-figure business, you can do this too. Now that you've seen the full roadmap, don't waste time guessing what to sell. Watch this video next because it breaks down how to find high demand products with low competition and real profit potential.